they came out and they had some decent adjustments second half for that series, and we didn't react excuse me, as well as we should have to it. That's definitely a trend that's got to be corrected. That first drive coming out of the second half, potentially is one of the most important of the game. Obviously, if you got to go win at the end of the game or things like that, that can supersede. But that first drive coming out of the second half has to be a staple for us. It has to be taken as the most important drive of the game. And I think we covered that yesterday, and I hope the guys understand how important that situation is and how much intensity and execution has to be present on that drive.
Was it encouraging to see the guys kind of get to the quarterback more early in that game?
Yeah, I thought the guys rushed the passer well in the first, especially the first quarter. In the second half, we didn't probably earn the right to rush them as much as we should have. But in the first half, they did a nice job rushing the quarterback. I think the pass rush has improved greatly. Outside guys, inside guys, and most of those sacks, weren't schemed up sacks. They were four-man rushes, guys getting home. So that's very encouraging to see, especially in conference play.
Outside of kind of that big play penalties for Caleb Tanner, one of his best games like us as a Husker, what do you think about his game? Outside of that play, what do you tell a guy after a play like that?
Well, I thought he played a tremendous football game outside of the penalty. They got to understand when we get in that unit meeting, I'm correcting Caleb, but I'm correcting everybody. It's not about Caleb anymore. It's about everybody learning, what's the rules? How can we avoid situations like that? The quarterback, the game has changed. You can't do things around the quarterback that you used to be able to do. And an emphasis this year is on taunting. We need to celebrate with our teammates. Spontaneous celebration is one of the greatest things about college football. But we need to celebrate with our teammates and not make it about me. And that's not for Caleb. That's for the entire team. That's for the entire defense. And those are just things that can't happen. It couldn't happen the other day, and it did. And that can't happen the rest of the season.
What kind of challenges is trying to fix that percent? When the guys have maybe played a certain way their entire lives, they've been playing football, but now they've got to tighten some of those things up.
Yeah, well, we've all played Pee-wee football and high school football, and you get away with things that you can't get away with in college. And you're going to go, if you want to go play on Sunday, you're not going to get away with some things on the Sunday league that you do in college football. So you've got to make the adjustment, and you've got to be an unselfish player, and you've got to be willing to help the team, and it's got to be about team and not about me. And like I said, that's not just for Caleb. That's for everybody on the football team, and that's for everybody on defense.
Is that opposite corner position still going to be kind of a week-in, week-out battle, depending on how the guys perform in the game?
Yeah, I think that's going to be an ongoing battle. I think all those guys that are fighting for a job over there are doing some nice things, and it's going to be, how do you practice during the week? And if it's close, then we got to rotate guys in there. If it's not close, we'll stick with one guy. But that's an ongoing situation every week.
Anybody else get Blackford?
Nope.
Who do you feel like played maybe the best of your who were you pleased with in their individual responsibility?
It's hard to name a guy that played the best, but I think there's a lot of guys out there that played their best football as a Husker so far. I don't know to say who played the best in the game, because a lot of guys were rotating in. We rotated a lot of guys up front. 3 guys were rotating in at inside linebacker. There's some safety rotation going on. So I think a lot of guys probably played their best game as a Husker, but that's the encouraging thing, but that's also the disappointing thing, because I think there's so much more, and I think this group has more. I think we just need to continue to demand excellence out of this group. They had an opportunity to play. They played a good football game. They had an opportunity to play an elite football game, and we weren't quite ready to do it yet. And that's on me. That's disappointing, but that's got to change.
Will Tyreek Johnson be able to get kind of going here in these next couple of home games at home? Where's he at?
Yeah, I hope so. He was banged up a little bit with an injury he came in with, so he was kind of on and off. But he's had a couple good weeks of practice now, and I hope we can get him going here in the next couple of weeks, especially with a couple home games where there's no travel roster and those types of things, so we can kind of really find out who belongs and who doesn't.
This week they'll grow it a lot. be a little bit different for you guys? I think the team can try to throw it probably 450 times based on what they've shown before.
Different how?
Before, I mean, a different test from what you saw with Illinois last week.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they played a spring game or a spring season, which they looked a little different than they did in 2019. Excuse me. We've got all the film. They've got their running back who played in 2019 and was an excellent football player who did not participate in the spring because of injury. He's now back. So just to say, well, they're going to throw it around, I think that's foolish because they have a really good running back coming back. They also have a good quarterback and good receivers. So I think the guys need to be ready for both phases of the football game.
Coming off the loss, is there something specific you look for in your defense coming out into that next game? Are there certain things you want to see them do coming off that loss?
Yeah, fix the mistakes, play harder than we did last week. This is a long football season. I know, a lot was made out of the first game, which it should have been, but you can't let somebody beat you twice. This game is the most important game of the season. This game right here versus Fordham, that's the most important game of the season, and we need to approach it like that. And I want to see those guys play a nameless, faceless opponent every time. The scheme's a little different, the formations are a little different, but it's about us. And we need to get ready to play Husker football, black shirt defense, and that's it.